Okay, hi again, everyone, and good afternoon. And I think it's not too late to wish Selamat Hari Raya to everyone. So today, first, I will introduce the program and the speaker for today's event, and then we'll proceed straight away with the workshop. So welcome to Excel Workshop for Organizational Management. So this event is brought to you by the Faculty of Management Society 2021 and 2022. So sorry, I'm quite nervous today. It's been a long while that I haven't seen Miss Lilian. So okay. This LSL workshop is a workshop that aims at giving guidance for MMU students in applying the Microsoft Excel features in managing an organizations. And this workshop will be extremely useful for students that have leadership positions in clubs and societies in MMU. So the main purpose of this workshop is to increase the understanding on the applicable and relevant Excel function that will be useful in managing an organization. So there are three objectives of this event. Firstly is to provide step-by-step guidance on relevant Excel features and functions. Secondly is to allow participants to ask questions regarding Microsoft Excel. And thirdly, to help produce students that have extensive knowledge in using Microsoft Excel in managing an organization. So with us today, we have the speaker for our event today is Dr. Lilian Antonisami. So Dr. Lilian is a lecturer and a certified trainer at the Faculty of Management. She has more than 17 years of experience in the field of lecturing and training in the areas of multimedia and design, soft skills development, digital skills for workplace productivity, smart city development, and many others. She holds a Bachelor of Information Technology, majoring in Information System Engineering from Multimedia University, a master's degree in Technology and Innovation Management from University Technical Malaysia Melaka, and a PhD degree from the Faculty of Creative Multimedia from MMU. So Dr. Lilian is a professional technologist endorsed by the Malaysian Board of Technologies and holds several professional memberships from the Malaysian Educational Technology Association, Malaysian Management Institute of Management, and Malaysian Association of Information Systems. So before we start, I would like to point out that we are going to post the link so that the participants can fill in the form to get SAPS point. So please fill in for your attendance and also for your SAPS point. And please give us your feedback so that we can improve more on our program. So without further ado, I will leave the session to Miss Lilian.
Okay, thank you, Roger, for the kind introduction. I think you did very well in the introduction. Congratulations on that. Thank you very much, first of all, for inviting me to run this Excel workshop. It is definitely a privilege on my side to give my support over to you, Raja. I do see a lot of familiar faces here. I think a lot of them were my students before. So I like to also personally welcome you. I also like to thank Miss Zarina. She created the Google Meet link. So she's here today. Thank you very much, Zarina. So before I start, let me share my screen here. Okay, share screen has been shared. Let me just turn on the Q&A, just in case you have any questions to ask. Okay, I do have a few PowerPoint slides to start with, right? So let me start off with a few PowerPoint slides, and then I'll get to Excel straight away, all right? So feel free to ask me any questions you might have. I call this workshop Mastering Excel for Clubs and Societies in 3 hours. So I think Roger gave a very good introduction about the objective of this workshop and the direction in which we are going to take this workshop in these 3 hours that we have. So my name is Lilian, and I think most of you know me, I believe, right? So let me move on to the next slide. Now, basically what we're going to be learning today are things that we're going to be using that are associated with organization, management, when you're dealing with clubs and societies. I believe most of you, if not all of you, you're attached to at least one club or society. And with that, you organize events, you run certain things, right? And you might want to learn something about Excel so that you can take the skills and use it when you're organizing events or running functions in your clubs and societies. So this is just a glimpse of what we're going to cover today. So we're going to look at formulas, functions, we're going to look at charting, how do you work with multiple worksheets, how do you do reporting. I think this is very important because if you're going to work in Excel, I think most of the time when you talk about clubs and societies, you need to produce reports. I'm not very sure in what format your reports are going to be, whether it's in Microsoft Word format or in PowerPoint format, but I'm going to show you examples of both, right? And then a little bit on formatting, on conditional formatting, or managing large data. And these are some of the, not some, we're going to cover all of these common Excel formulas today. So average, sum if, count, different types of counts, if function, like one of the most powerful function in Excel, VLOOKUP, drop-down list, concatenate, and many other formatting styles. Now, before the workshop, Raja messaged me a few common questions that was given by the participants, right? So these were some of the questions that were listed by Raja Faiz from the students, from the participants. So I'm just going to run through quickly these questions. And if you are still unclear, perhaps throughout the session later, you can still ask me the same question if I did not answer you, or perhaps it will be answered throughout the workshop today. Now, the question that I got from students is, number one, can we get a copy of the slides that are going to be used? Now, the slides that I have prepared here is really an introduction. So I can't teach Excel using PowerPoint slides. So I have to teach Excel using Excel, right? So I don't think there's a need for you to take the slides, right? But if you need, just let me know. Second question, what do we need to know most for the working industry in terms of Excel? Now, this is very, very subjective. It really depends on what is your specialization? What are you majoring in? Are you majoring in finance? Are you majoring in accounting, in marketing, in management, or in other technical specifications? So different types of specialization would require different skill set. So this one is quite hard for me to tell you straight up right now, right? If you really want to know like specific Excel skills that you're going to be using later on in life, I think one of the best learning experience is during your internship. You will definitely know, what are the common types of, let's say, Excel skills you need to acquire before you step into the workforce, all right? Okay? The next question, also quite similar. What other functions in Excel can you recommend for the students to learn? So today we're going to be learning some of these, about formulas, about Excel, all about managing. So I hope you'll be able to learn something from this workshop today. Okay. Next question, what's VBA? Now, VBA is Visual Basic Applications, okay? So Visual Basic Applications, or VBA, is part of the Microsoft Programming in Excel, which means you can actually use VBA in Microsoft Excel. And how you do that, you have to use a Visual Basic editor. Now, to use a Visual Basic editor, you need to know some amount of coding. Yeah, but if you ask me, Visual Basic is pretty much obsolete already. If you want to learn about coding, if you want to learn about data analysis using programming languages, I urge you and I encourage you to learn the new stuff that is happening now, Python, R programming, structured equation modeling. So go towards that, big data analysis. Visual Basic is pretty obsolete already, okay? How to create pivot table for massive data. Okay, so based on the objective of this workshop, we're actually looking at organizational concept, how to manage data. We're not looking at data analysis per se, right? So it's two different directions. So we're actually looking on the organizational part, on how do we manage data, how do we organize events using Excel. So but because someone put up this question, I'm just going to give you an idea of what pivot table is. All right, so I actually just inserted it like few minutes before the workshop. Where is the best platform to learn Excel? Just go and Google, go and Google it, go and YouTube it. You know, if there is something you need to learn, YouTube it or Google it. You'll definitely somehow find an answer. Okay. Next question. Can you help to explain the most common use functions in Excel, please? Oh, this is so kind. Okay, so yeah, I will be going through some commonly used Excel formulas throughout the workshop. I definitely will. And then the last question, any tips on how we can use Excel to solve advanced equations quickly, especially for exams? Now, I'm not quite sure what kind of question you're asking me here. Are you talking about equations? Are you talking about how you can put in the equations quickly? So I don't quite understand the question, but if you're going to use an equation, first of all, you must know if you're using any formulas or if you're using any functions. This is very important. If you know how to write the formula, if you know what parameters are involved in using a certain function, that I don't think you're going to have an issue solving the problem in Excel. If you're going to talk about speed, then I would relate that to the autofill function. So later on, I will also cover a little bit about autofill function. There are different types of autofill function that we can use to speed up that process of filling in the data in Excel. Okay, right. So these were the 10 questions that we got earlier on. Are there any questions? Hold on, let me just go and check now. Oh, okay, this is nothing. This is just a form. So just make sure you fill up the form, yeah? Thanks for the tentative agenda. I know this is a 3-hour workshop. I told Raja Faiz that I'll try to give you perhaps 2 short breaks in between, right? Maybe 10 minutes each break. I think that would be good. Okay, I just want to touch a little bit on Microsoft Office versus Office 365. I'm very sure all of you received the email from MMU on the latest subscription for Office 365. Now, this subscription by MMU is very useful for students who do not have the licensed software. Now, if you already have Microsoft Office license or software in your laptop, then you might not find this very useful. But if you do not have the software, I know there are many students who do not have the software and they are running on WPS, they are running on some other freewares, then please take full advantage of this. Okay, so the subscriptions for now is of 2 years. All right. If you're going to access to Office 365, this is the online version. Okay, this is the license and the offline version. Now, if you're not sure how to access to your Office 365, you just go to the browser, to any browser, and then you type in the URL www.office.com. Okay, so you go to any browser and then you type in www.office.com. Now, what you have to do is you will have to log in. Now, the difference between the Google ID login, that means your CAMSIS login, and your Google Classroom and MMLS and all that, and this one is just in terms of the login ID. So the login ID for Office 365 is slightly different. You have to put in your student ID at soffice@mmu.edu.my. So this is different from your other student ID, your other login ID, which is your student ID at student.mmu.edu.my. All right, so it's just 2 different logins, but the password is the common password. It's the same password that you use to access to CAMSIS, the same password that you use to access to other systems in MMU. Okay, so please, if you do not have the software, please go and have a look at it. It's not 100% the same, because Microsoft Office has been established very much earlier on as compared to Office 365, but you will be able to get the job done. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to copy. I prepared some Excel templates and I've uploaded them to the Google Drive. And so I'm going to share with you the link, right? So you can just click on the link. And when you click on the link, you'll be able to see 3 Excel documents, part 1, part 2, part 3. So we're going to do Excel in this order. Now, if you have Microsoft Office software in your computer and you'd like to follow me as I go through the Excel, feel free to go ahead and follow me. Yeah. Okay. So you can just download all of these documents. Now, if you plan to follow me as we go along, it really depends. Like if you have dual screens at home, then it makes your job a lot more easier because on one screen, you're able to see what I'm demonstrating in my computer, and on the other screen, you might be able to try it out yourself. But I know not many of us have got the privilege of having dual screens. Like even for me right now at home, I only have a single screen. So if you are like me and you have a single screen, but yet you like to follow me, I suggest you split your screen. Okay, so the easiest way to split your screen is you take the title bar here and you just push it to the side. Okay, so on one side you can see what I'm doing here, and on the other side, if you take your Excel, already click on the title bar and just push it to the other end. So this is the easiest way how you can split your screen. Okay. The size of the split is up to you. Like what I've done here is 50-50, but if you think you want it to have like 60-40, then you just go ahead and adjust it manually like that. Okay. So Windows 10 have got this feature where you can split the screen just by clicking or just by holding on to the title bar here and just by throwing it to the side. And then it will automatically stick to one side of your screen. Okay, it's the same with the tab or the title bar for your browser. Okay, you just click on your title bar and then you just push it to the side and it will be sticking on one side of your screen. All right, so this would work if you are following me through. If you don't want to follow me through, it's fine. If you just want to watch me like how you watch something on YouTube, also fine, no problem. I believe that we can share the recording to the students, yeah, after the workshop. Okay, so if there's no questions, it's going to rain in my area. So if it does rain and if I do get disconnected, just wait for me. I will come back online using my hotspot. Yeah. Okay, let me start. Now, how I've structured this workshop is I will always start with some amount of basics. I think that is my style. You know, I think those of you whom I've taught before, you will always notice that whenever I teach something or I do a training or a workshop, I always start with some basics and then we build up our knowledge from there. So looking back at the basics is a very good checklist to check your prior knowledge on something. Right, so I'll spend not too long, but I'll spend a couple of minutes just revisiting some basic things about Excel before we move on or we take up our knowledge further. Now, if you have downloaded the part 1, you will notice that in this part 1, I have got several worksheets that I have already created, and we're going to go through these worksheets one by one. Okay, how long we're going to take, I am guessing it's going to be probably maybe about 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on how fast or how slow we go. Yeah. Okay. So the first one is just welcome. Now, what you need to know about Microsoft Excel is some basic terms that Microsoft has created. Now, the basic terms is if you talk about Excel, basically you're creating a spreadsheet. Yeah. So this is so people say spreadsheet, you need to know is referring to Microsoft Excel. Now, when you open up or if you want to create a spreadsheet, you will notice that for Microsoft Office, all their softwares have got tabs. These are called tabs, right? So you have the Home tab, Insert tab, Page Layout tab. So these are called tabs, all right? Now, in each tab, there's a ribbon. Okay? So if I am at the Insert tab, the entire stretch you see here from the left to the right, this is called a ribbon. So the ribbon for the Insert tab. So if I were to change it to the Home tab, this is the ribbon for the Home tab. All right. Now, every ribbon will have groups. Do you know which are the groups? You can see it here very clearly, right? So the name of the group is at the bottom. So I'm currently at the Home ribbon. So you can see at the bottom here, this is a clipboard group, a font group, alignment group, number group, and so forth. So the group name is written at every ribbon, right? So the group names are here. Now, in certain groups, there are dialog box launchers. For certain groups, they are dialog box launchers. Now, what are dialog box launchers? You will notice dialog box launchers, you will see it at the bottom right of certain groups. What dialog box launchers are, it actually gives you an extension to more properties or more settings. You won't find it in every group. Like, for example, I'm in the Home tab. So I can see the dialog box launch here. On clipboard group, font, alignment, number, styles is not there. Okay, cells is not there as well, editing is not there. So if you just scroll through or glance through all the other tabs, you will find that not every group will have the dialog box launcher, only certain groups. Okay, now the next thing about Excel is when we speak about the worksheets. Yeah? Now if I'm going to start a new worksheet, if I'm going to start a new spreadsheet, I always, my students will always know this, I always believe in shortcuts, right? So the shortcut to start a new spreadsheet is Control N. Right? So this now, when you work on a new spreadsheet, if you look at the bottom, you will have it as a sheet 1. This is worksheet, yeah? I always prefer to call it a worksheet rather than a sheet, right? Because it sounds different. So a worksheet would be better. Now, they give you just one worksheet. Why is this important to know is because you can just click on the plus sign to just add on as many worksheets as you want. Why is it important to know this is because when you are organizing, let's say, an event or a function for your club and society, I would definitely encourage you not to have like different documents or different spreadsheets. Try to consolidate everything in one document. All right, so it's standardized and everything can be consistent. So you reduce errors or you reduce mistakes. What you can do to start organizing them is you can color code them. So for example, if you're organizing an event, there's a lot of things that you have to look into. For example, you want to look into who are the committee members or who are your team, what are your roles and functionalities of the event. So you want to talk about team members, or you want to have the description about the event, and description. And then obviously there's some money involved, so you have maybe on budget, you have maybe something on the actual expenses. Then you might have, let's say, on maybe the guest list, and maybe some the invites or invitation. I don't know, there's so many things that you can work on, especially when you're organizing an event. I think you are an expert in this, not me, yeah? Right. What you can do to make it more coordinated is you insert colors. This is what I practice. So for example, things that are related to human resource, manpower, you want to give it a color code. How do you give it a color code? You just right click and you can see the tab color, right? So let's say things dealing with manpower, you want to give it a green, for example. Is it green? Okay. Okay, so you give it a green like that. Things pertaining to money, you want to give it a certain color. So let's say you want to give it a red. So actual expenses, maybe red. Maybe guest list, you want to give it a different color, let's say blue. You know? So when you have like multiple worksheets, all at one, like for example, this is the multiple worksheets. I've got so many worksheets at the bottom here. If you color code them, it's easier for you to identify which is which. Okay, that is one thing that I always practice. So if you have not tried out this color code, please try it out. The other thing that you want to know about worksheets is just rearranging the worksheets. Sometimes, for example, like in this case, event description should be in the beginning. So to rearrange the worksheets is just a simple drag and drop. Yeah, so you can just drag, click, and drop. Okay, so just click, drag, and drop like that. Click, drag, drop. Right, so rearranging worksheets is just a matter of drag and drop. Now, inserting is just clicking the plus sign, but if you want to delete, it's just as easy as just right-clicking. So everything is here. All you don't even have to remember anything, right? So you just have to right-click and you can see the menu here, and you can decide what is it that you want to do. Whether you want to rename it, whether you want to delete it, whether you want to insert a color, you decide, or whether you just want to hide it. Okay. Now, one more thing that I like to emphasize when I'm working with a spreadsheet is I always like to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, I'm not sure about any one of you, but I am quite rabun. So whenever I work on a spreadsheet, I need to enlarge it a little bit. I need to zoom in a little bit, right? And the zoom function or feature is at the bottom right. Yes, you can see the minus and the plus sign. But I do not like to click the minus and the plus sign. I find it so annoying. So I'm going to show you what is the shorter way to actually zoom in and zoom out this easily. Now, one of the ways you can just zoom in and zoom out easily is you have to hold on to your control button on your keyboard. Right? So just hold on the control button. And I hope all of you have invested in the mouse. I'm definitely an advocate of a mouse. Please don't rely on your touchpad, right? Buy a mouse because it increases your productivity by many percentage. I don't know how many, right? So please invest in a mouse. Now, if you want to zoom in, all you have to do is hold on your control button and scroll up. Okay, scroll up, that's all. And then you can scroll down to zoom out. So when you do it like this, if you're following me, you will realize how it's super easy to actually zoom in and zoom out, rather than using the plus and the minus function here. Okay? All right. So let me go through this one again. I'm zooming in for you to see. Running through some basics again. Where am I? What is this box called? Okay, so all this interface, you can see all these boxes. This box is called a cell, so please get the terms right. Don't call it a box, it's called a cell. How do I reference a cell? So each cell has got a name. I believe all of you know this as well. So if you want to refer to a cell, you first refer it to the column followed by the row. Okay, so column followed by the row. So in this case, this cell is F5. One is D3. You can see it being highlighted, so it's easy for us to just note. This is D10, this is J2, and so forth. Of course, we will be using the cell names or the cell references later on when we are working with functions and formulas. Okay. How do I reference a range of cells? Now, if I'm just going to put in some, let me apply some borders so you can see properly. And reference, let me just put in some random numbers here. If you're going to reference a range of cells, let's say from this cell all the way to this cell, you have to use a symbol, right? So the symbol that you use is this. Okay? So you start off with the first cell, which is E8. Right? So I'm going to put here E8. And if it's going to be a range of cells, it's going to be E8 until something, right? So the until, you represent it using a colon. This is a colon, not a semicolon. It's a colon. So you represent it using a colon, and then you put the last cell. So the last cell is I8. I8, like that. This is how you reference a range of cells. So E8 until I8. Now, how you write it is up to you. Microsoft Excel, it is not case sensitive. So not case sensitive means you can write it capital A, capital E8, sorry. You can write it as capital E or small e, it doesn't matter. You can write it small I, capital R, it doesn't matter. You can have a combination of capital and uppercase and lowercase in one formula, it doesn't matter. Because it is not, we call it not case sensitive. Move on. The next one. When you're dealing with numbers, what's my monthly allowance? Okay. So when you have numbers, of course, you want to format the number accordingly, right? If you're dealing with currency, then you want to go with the accounting number format. I think you cannot go wrong with this. Yeah. So accounting number format is the best if you're working with currency. Of course, you have to choose what currency you're working with. If in Malaysia, definitely we are working with Ringgit Malaysia. So if you choose one of the options that are here, you will notice it gives you the currency that you want. And the decimal place is 2. They've also inserted the comma style for us. So it makes our work a lot more easier. How we wish our monthly allowance was this, right? Okay. Next question. How many subscribers do I get on in a day on YouTube? Okay. If you're not dealing with currency, so if you have a random number like that, now then you can decide whether you want to insert a comma style. Okay, so if you insert a comma style, then you have to click it under the number group. Under the home tab, you will see number group. There are many different styles here, so you want to click the comma style. Of course, if you're dealing with subscribers, you don't need the decimal, so you can remove the decimal from here because you have increase and decrease decimal. Right? So if you decrease the decimal, then you take away that. If you do not want to apply it, if you just want to do it like this, 452, 5, it's up to you. Right, next, in terms of fractions. So again, dealing with numbers, under the number group, there are different properties that you can set, right? So if you're dealing with fraction and you want to see it as a 0.5, and if you want to see it as 1/2, then just click on the fraction. That's all. I've seen some students frantically finding where do I set a fraction, right? So similarly, if it's 0.5, if you want to see in the form of a fraction, then just go ahead and. So these are, we are still covering some basic things, huh? All right. Now, what if I want this to cover multiple columns? Okay, what I'm trying to say here is, right now, you can see if I click on this first cell, the entire question is in my first cell, but in my second cell, it's not there, all right? So if I want this to be covered for all these cells, I have to merge it, right? So the merge and center function is just right up there. Use it if it's necessary. We always use this merge and center for title. You know, you want to merge a couple of cells and then you write in the title there. So it's as easy as that. Okay. If you want to unmerge it, just click it again, no problem. Okay, so you can unmerge and merge it right in the same place. Okay. What if I want to fit all of these into one cell? So like again, right now it's running across several cells. And if you want to fit all of this into one cell, then make use of your wrap text. Okay, I will show you a different way to use wrap text using a shortcut keys, but that will come later. All right, for now, let me just go through the basics first. So this is wrap text. Okay, so this is also very useful. Yeah, very useful. Okay, so you can see everything is wrapped up into one cell. Okay, next. Let me enlarge it a bit, so whether you are able to see it. Now, next we're going to look at several things here. I've named this worksheet as adjust cell size, but there are a couple of things we're going to do here. Number one is also about inserting rows and columns. This is again back to basics. I hope you can remember this. If you're inserting a row and a column, all you have to do is right click. but the only difference is you have to know where to right click, right? The rule of thumb is very easy. If you need to insert a new column, always remember column will be inserted to the left. So if you need to insert a column before mileage here, that means in between color and mileage, that means you have to right click on the column D to insert because it goes to the left. Okay, so if you need to insert in between price and cost, then you right click on cost. When you click insert, it goes to the left. Now, if you're going to insert a row, the rule of thumb is when you right click on it, it goes above, right? So if you need to insert some rows, let's say above the headers here, all you have to do is just right click on row number 1 and insert. So you can insert as many as you want, as many as required. So deleting is just the same, also right click, delete. Okay, so super easy to insert. Column is to the left, row is above. Okay, next is about adjusting the row height, column width, and cell size. So it's about adjusting the size. Now, if you see, let me delete all these additional columns. Yeah, where is it? Now, if you see your value or your data showing like this, hashtag, hashtag, and then some values you're able to see, some values is showing as hashtag. What this hashtag means is the space is not enough for Excel to show the entire value. Okay, because you can see some is viewed properly, but some cannot be viewed. This indicates that there are not enough space. So if you're going to increase the space, there are two ways how you can go about doing this. First way is you do it manually, right? So you click on the border line. So you got the border lines here. And then from the border line here, you just drag it manually. So you just drag it like estimate, you know. Okay, you drag it to make it smaller, or you drag it to increase the width. What I would recommend you to do is not adjusting it manually. Okay, this is not what I would recommend. What I would recommend you instead is to ask the software to automatically adjust the cell size for you. How you do that in a similar fashion, you just hover over, you just mouse over the borderline here, and instead of clicking, you double click. All right, when you double click, you see what instantly happens is Excel will adjust the cell size automatically for us. All right, so if there is a need for you to adjust manually, you go ahead, but try double clicking this. Okay, so double clicking will definitely do the job. Okay, now if you need to adjust, let's say the row height or the column width. Row height means this one, you want to increase the height of the row, or you want to widen the column width. For example, let's say you want to make it consistent in terms of the row. You don't want this size, you want to make it bigger a little bit. If you want to increase the height of the row, this is what you can do. Let's say you want it to be applied throughout the entire table, for example, or the data. Then you just select the affected data first, and then you right click. So when you right click, under the menu here, you will see row height. Okay, you will see row height. So this is where you have to put in a number. It's quite small, but you have to put in a number. Now, what number you have to put in, it really depends on what size are you looking for. So like currently it's 15. So this size, the row height here, is valued at 15. So I think this is a good benchmark to know that if you want to increase the height, then you increase the number. If you want to make it smaller, which I do not recommend you to make it smaller, then you have to reduce the number. Okay, so let's say you want to put it to 20, from 15 to 20, you will notice the entire rows are increased unanimously, okay, consistently. And in a similar way, if you need to do it for the columns, again, let's say you right click on them. Okay, so for column it's called width, for row it's called height. Go to your column width, and then you put in a number. So like, let's say you put in, I don't know, 25. Oh, that's too big. Okay, sorry. If the number is too big, then you just reduce. 20. But for column, I don't quite advise because sometimes you see like this one here, the price and the cost. We don't need that much size. Yeah, we don't need that big of a size. So it may not really be applicable for column. It may be more applicable for rows. But then again, use as and when necessary. Okay. The next one I wanted to show you is a drop-down menu. All right. Now, drop-down menu is useful. Let me give this a border. It's easy to see with a border, right? So, okay. Now, drop-down menu is if, let's say, you consistently have a group of values that you need to insert in. So, a certain number of values, for example, let's say color, right? So, if you look at this is just sample data. Okay, none of this is true. Okay. So if you look at this dummy data that I have in terms of the color, there's only like red, blue, silver, black, green. Yeah. So it's these 5 colors, red, blue, silver, black, and green. So if you have consistently a group of fixed colors or a group of fixed values, then you can create a drop-down menu. So the benefit of drop-down menu is you don't have to type it in. Just click on the drop-down menu and you can choose the value. Okay. Let me show you how to insert a drop-down menu. Yeah. For example, if I want to insert it at the color, you can insert it on the make, you can insert it on this. But of course, you cannot insert it on the mileage, the prices is not suitable. Huh? Okay, so I click on this cell here. Then you go to data. Look for data validation. Okay, I'm using Office 2019, right? So if you're using the same version, then it shouldn't be a problem in following me. Okay. So if you go under the data tab, you would see a button called data validation. All right. So you click on the first one that says data validation. Okay, so click on that. So it will give you like a very small window. Now from this window, it says validation criteria, allow. Okay. I want you to click on this pull down menu and go to list. Okay, pull down menu and go to list. If I'm going fast and you need to repeat certain things, please let me know. Okay. So go to list. Right, and the minute you change the value to list, it pops up the source. So this is where you can type in the value list. What is the value that you want to have in your list or your drop-down menu? So I'm just going to put all the colors. All you have to remember is the value that you put in has to be separated by a comma. If it's not separated by a comma, you will see it appear in one line, which you do not want. So the comma tends to act as a separator. So you'll see like a drop-down menu. So you put red, then what's the other color? Blue, comma, black, comma, green, comma. Okay. So I've put in the 5 colors, and at any point of time, you can always come back to change it. If there's an error, you can come back to edit, or you can come back to just clear up everything. If let's say you do not want the drop down anymore. Okay, then click OK. So the minute you click OK, you can see that there is a pull down menu here. Okay, so you can see the list. All right. So this one, like I said, it can be added. You can change it. Right. You can also clear it. No problem. If you don't think the drop-down menu is necessary, then go ahead and delete it. All right. So this is very, very useful if you have repeating values. Okay. Drop-down menu. Okay. Let me. No questions so far. So far, good. Okay. Right. Okay. So if it's good, then we move on to the next one. This is just also running through basic formulas. Now, we just run back to basics again first, huh? Right. When we use when we want to do a simple addition like this, okay, 5 plus 4, I know all of you know how to do this, right? But this is just a reminder, right? When you work with numbers and you want to use certain formulas or functions, please do not use the values. Although you can get the same results. So if I'm going to just quickly, wait, let me enlarge it. Let me zoom in a little bit more so it's clearer. Okay. So if I'm going to give you a quick demonstration on this, you use the values, that means you're using the actual values, 5 plus 4. Yes, you get the answer, right? This is right, this is not wrong, but it's not the right practice. The right practice is using cell referencing. So the right practice would be you take the name of the cell and add it with the other cell. This is how you should be doing it. Okay, if you are doing this, then well and good for you. But if you are not, then this is a good reminder for you to change. All right. Now, if you're using functions like sum, you can actually apply. Hold on, let me reduce it. You can apply the sum or the function vertically, or you can apply it horizontally. Okay, so this is very, very easy as well. The most commonly used function is sum. Okay, when you want to total up something, I think that is something that we cannot run away from. Right, we all use sum for like everything, right? And if you're going to use a function, I would always suggest that simple functions like sum, try to just type it yourself. Of course, if you do not wish to type it yourself, you can actually get it under the formula tab here, and simple functions like sum is under the auto sum. Okay, but I urge you, for simple things like this, please try to just type it out. When you want to type out a function, you always start with the equal sign, and the name of the function is sum. Okay, you cannot change it up, it's fixed. And then the bracket here is called parentheses. So you open parentheses and then you select, and then you close parentheses. So you can see it's a range of cells starting from A6 to A8, all right, by a column here. So now, similarly, if you want to sum up the values horizontally, also same, right? So just quickly, I put the equal sign sum, and then I just select the entire string of numbers here. I close parentheses, and then I press enter. Now, because sum is just the most commonly used function, I'm going to teach you a shortcut key. Okay, so that's why I showed you the demonstration here. Now, the shortcut key to calculate sum automatically, because that's one of the most used function, is you use the alternate equal shortcut key. Okay, how to use alternate equal shortcut key is like this. So if let's say you want to output the value or the sum in this cell, I've colored it with yellow so you can see clearly, right? So you make sure you click on the cell. So click here, and all you do is you press alternate equal. All right, so you can't see on my keyboard, but you can try it with me, alternate equal. So when you press alternate equal, it will select the entire range, and it will give you that selection. Of course, before you press enter, you have to check whether it's the correct range, and then you press enter. Alternate enter, you can apply to whether it's vertically or horizontally, it doesn't matter. So let's say I'm going to demonstrate it here. Okay, I make sure I click on this cell, and then I press alternate equal. Okay, and then enter. Alternate equal, enter. Remember this, please, because this is going to make your work a lot more faster. Okay, alternate enter to sum up values. Okay, if you need to sum different parts of the data in the screen, so for example, you want to sum up this part, together with this and this. So how do you do it? I've seen some students, they will put the total here. Let's say they'll calculate the total, they'll put it in this box here, and then they'll calculate this total, and then they'll put it in this box. And this one, maybe there's no total, right? So they'll put, let's say, the grand total here. So they'll take this plus this plus this. All right, not wrong at all, huh? But I'm showing you a faster way how to do it. The faster way how to do it is you just put it all in one cell. All right. So you start off with the equal sign, and then I'm going to add in the word sum again. The first thing I'm going to select is the first part of the data value set, which is this. Okay, so it's A17 until L17. And when you want to include the second set of data, all you have to do is separate it with a comma. Right? So you just add a comma. And once you add a comma, you're allowing yourself to include the second set of data. All right, and then add a comma and the third set of data. And then you close parentheses. And there you have it. You can actually sum up all together. Okay, instead of doing it one by one, which I said is not wrong, but why not just do it one shot in one formula in one cell? Okay. Next one, going on very quickly as well. Subtract is again using cell referencing. This minus this, done. Okay, multiplication, we use the asterisk to multiply. So this asterisk, and then the cell equal. Division is a slash. So equal sign this slash this, right? Average, also a very common function. Okay, very common function. You put the equal sign and then you type average. Now I want to show you something on this. Let me just enlarge my screen. Now, a lot of students I see struggle with this. So they put the equal sign and then they want to type in average. So when you type AV, you can see a list of functions that are available in Excel, but you want average, right? So let's say you use your arrow key and you go down to average and you want to use that. What I see students do is they press enter. Don't press enter if you want to use that function. That's the wrong way of inserting the function. What you should do is, see, I'm pressing the down arrow, right? If you want to use this function and you want to insert this function into the cell, you press tab. You don't press enter, press tab. Okay, so instead of typing in the entire function, you just go to the specific function and then you press tab. So it's inserted in, not enter. Okay, so once you have the average, then you just have to select the entire range, close the parentheses, and then press enter. Other one? Max, okay. Max also sometimes I find it very useful. If let's say you want to, given a list of numbers, you want to find what is the highest value, what is the highest ranking. So you can use the max function, also running through very quickly. Okay, so equal max, max, open parentheses, select everything, and then close. And you're done. So it will actually extract what is the highest value or what is the highest number given that range that you have selected. Okay, now I'd like to also take a moment to demonstrate something on count. Count basically means we want to count. We want to count, okay? So the only variable would be what we want to count. I will actually show you different types of count here. I'm going to show you counting numbers, counting text, and counting something will be later also. Now, if you're going to count the numbers, not summing up, not totaling, it's not counting only. That means how many values are there, how many entries. So you're running a pop quiz, you're running something. You want to know how many entries, how many, okay? So you use the function called count. So you start with the equal, you put count, okay, count, and then you select, just select the range, close parentheses, press, oh, what happened to my, oh, sorry. I went to the wrong place. Hold on. I typed it in the wrong. You know, working with software, this is what happens. One minute. One minute. Let me click this. Okay. Oops. Yes. Okay. So let me. So you put the equal sign and then you type in count, open parentheses, select the entire range of numbers that you want to count, close parentheses. And when you press OK, you get the number 12, right? So what 12 means is actually just counting the number of entries you have. It's not summing up the numbers. Huh? You just want to count. Okay, so you can count 1, 2, 3 until 12. Now, if you want to count values, that means text, like you have to know that the function count only can count numbers. It cannot count values, right? It cannot count like alphanumeric values. So if your data entry has got alphanumeric values, that means some of it is letters, some of it is numbers, then you cannot use count anymore. Instead, you have to use another function called, I don't know how you pronounce it, it's count or counter, I don't know how you pronounce it. However you want to pronounce it, just pronounce it. Okay, so counter or count A enables you to count alphanumeric values. Close your parentheses. Of course, the value is still 12, but it's able to count this alpha and numeric values. All right, so we learn about count. We also learn about count A, a counter, and what is the difference between that. Later on, I will actually show you a little bit on count if. That is on counting something. Okay, next one. Now, next one, we're going to talk a little bit about for fill series. This is autofill, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about color formatting fill series. We're going to talk a little bit about transposing the data, what is absolute cell referencing, fill series, and all that. So first up, again, if you see the cells showing hashtag, you know that there is not enough space, right? So the easiest way to create that space is double click, right? Double click, it gives you the right amount of space. The cell, double click, and you get the right amount of space. Is someone coming in? Roger, you know who is Prakash Jayabalan? Oh, okay. I think came in already.
Sorry.
Because somebody was trying to come into the room just now. It's okay.
Okay.
No problem. Settle already. Sorry. Now let's start by filling this up a little bit. Okay. Now, if we're going to calculate the profit margin, let's say for this data, for this dummy data, of course, we just take the sales price minus the cost, right? And it's as simple as putting in the equal sign and then taking the sales price minus subtracting with the cost. And then when you press enter, you get the value. Now, I'm just going to pause for a moment to just describe and to just explain a little bit about field series. Yeah, generally, what field series are. Go to the right for a while. Now, field series is you want Excel to fill in values automatically for you. Okay, I repeat. Field series or autofill is a function in Excel where you allow Excel to fill in values automatically for you. So you may ask, what kind of values can be automatically filled by Excel? Many things. Simplest thing is you want numbering. So you have like simple numbering like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so forth. So if you want to put in a simple numbering, then you just have to put in the first two numbers. Why two numbers? Is because you want Excel to detect the pattern. Once you have, let's say, the first two numbers, and then you can hover over the green box here, and then you just pull down, and it gives you a series of numbers automatically. You cannot put one number, because if you put one number, Excel will find it difficult to understand what is it that you want to do with the number one. It cannot understand. The minute Excel cannot understand what is your instruction, it will just copy the data. Okay. Similarly, you can actually put in like a series of data. For example, if you have it like this, I don't know in what circumstances you will use this. This is just to show you that it can actually detect a different pattern of data. And this field series can work in any direction. It can work vertically, it can work horizontally, it can also go in the opposite direction. All right, so it can work in any way. It also accepts things like the days of the week or the months of the year. For this one, because it's a name, so you don't have to put in two values. One value is fine. Then you just drag it down. All right. And if you like to have it in short form, then Excel will also understand that this is in a short form format, so it will follow through. All right. With the years, months, sorry. Okay. Just follow through. However, like I said, it is not able to understand. If your language setting is not set to Bahasa, then it will just copy. So similarly, if you see here, under the field series, so I put here total sales, quarter one, some value. So obviously this will be quarter two, quarter three, and so if you have a quarter one, most likely Excel would know that there is a quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four. So you don't have to type it, you just have to use your field series function, or we call it the field handle also sometimes. So use your field handle and pull it up. So it will be filled up automatically. Okay, so that is how the autofill or the field series work. Now in this scenario, right, if you want to apply this to the rest of the value, all you have to do is just use your field series or your field handle and hover over the green box here and then just pull it down like that. Okay, so this is one way of filling up the values. I'm going to show you a faster way how you can do this. Yeah, let me delete this one first. Now you have to imagine if let's say you're working with a lot of data. Okay, let's say you're managing a very big event and you have thousands of guest lists and you have to scroll down a lot to it. Okay, let me show you. Open this. So it's one of the assignments I give to my students, I think for one of the subjects, I don't know. I can't remember, but I know there are thousands of records. Okay, so you can see that it's such a long scroll down. Now, if it's such a long scroll down, problem will happen if you're going to pull this down manually. It's going to be a long way down, right? So the shorter way of doing it is this. You make sure you filled up one value in one cell, and then you mouse over the green box here, you hover over this, and you double click. So instead of clicking and pulling it down, you double click. When you double click, you will notice it will automatically fill up the values. So it doesn't matter whether you have 1,000 records or 2,000 records, it will fill up automatically. Okay, so it will save you a lot of time. Okay, so if you just have like a few rows of data, I think pulling it down manually is fine. But if you have a lot, then double click. Okay, now the next one I want to demonstrate is something called the absolute cell referencer. This one that you are doing here is called the relative cell referencing. It's called the relative cell referencing. So I'm going to show you what is the difference between absolute cell referencing and relative, and how does this one work. So if you look at this one, profit margin less management fee. So this is very easy, right? So all we have to do is just take the profit margin and we minus off the management fee, which is 100. Of course, there are so many options how you can work this out. I give you the options here. One of the options that you might use is you take this, and because this is a fixed value, you can do minus 100. You still get the same answer, of course. And even if you double click, fill up the entire list, it's not wrong because it's the correct cell, right? Minus 100. This one is the correct cell, minus 100. But earlier on, I told you, try not to use the value. Always reference the cell with the name of the cell, okay? So this is not a good practice. Let me delete it again, huh? All right. So again, just doing this again. So if I take the profit margin minus this one, okay, minus this cell is J4, and I press enter. Now, if I double click on this, yeah, this is where the problem happens. If you do cell referencing, this is what happens. The first one won't be a problem. I'm pressing F2. So when you press the function key F2, you can actually see which cell have you selected, right? If you want to come out from this, you can press escape. Yeah? So just to know what I'm pressing on my keyboard. Yeah? So if I go to just a random cell like this, and I press the F2 function key F2 on my keyboard, you can see that the relative referencing is wrong because G11 is correct, but the management fee is not at J11, it is at J4. All right. So this is happening because it is still using the relative cell referencing. So completely wrong because all the values here are incorrect. In this kind of situation, let me delete this now. First, I do again. Okay. So in this kind of situation where you want to fix the cell, okay, and you don't want the cell to move anywhere in terms of relative cell referencing, then what you should do is you put the equal sign, G minus. Okay, you do this one first, like how we did just now. And in order for you to fix the location of the cell, you have to use the dollar sign. Okay, I repeat that. In order for you to fix the location of the cell, you have to use the dollar sign. That is called absolute cell referencing. How you insert the dollar sign, I will also show you two ways. One is the manual way, one is the shortcut way. Okay, you must always learn the manual way also. Yeah? So the manual way is just putting in the dollar sign. So I'm going to put the dollar sign just before J like this. Dollar sign J. Dollar sign J means you are fixing the column. Okay, and I'm going to put another dollar sign. This one means you are fixing the row. Okay, so you are fixing the column and fixing the row. Therefore, you're fixing the cell. What does this mean is it doesn't matter how you drag, wherever you drag, the reference for this cell will not change. And that is called absolute cell referencing. Right? You will notice if you pull it down, at any point of time, if you click on any one of the cell and pressing F2 on, you can see that the cell referencing stays the same. So it is still J4, no matter where you click, right? Still J4. How you insert the dollar sign automatically? Like this. So when you work like this, if you want to insert it automatically, you have to use your function key F4. All right. So you just press the function key. It really depends how your laptop is. Like my laptop, I don't need to press the FN F4. So if your laptop requires you to press the FN F4, then go ahead. Like my laptop is a straightforward F4, right? So you press the function key F4, and you can toggle between which part you want to fix. You see? So if you press F4 again, you can see you're fixing just the row. If you press F4 again, This one you're fixing the column. So you got $J, then you press F4 again, goes back to the original view like that. So you can toggle between the different varieties of the absolute cell referencing just by pressing F4 and getting to where you want. Okay, so I find that this is very much faster. Once you're happy, then you press enter, and then you double click on it. Later in table, I will show you how you can speed up the process much faster. Okay, so we take it one step at a time. Okay, I'll teach you how to speed up the process where you don't even have to double click and pull down, or you don't have to double click. It will fill up automatically for you. All right. Let me see. Have I covered everything for this? Oh, no, not yet. Okay. Color formatting. All right. Oh, so color formatting is this. If let's say now when we speak about formatting, we always refer to formatting styles, color, the font type, font size, the properties, that means bold, italic, underline, that is called properties, or borderline, that is called formatting styles. Okay, so if you want to apply formatting styles on your text, so the simplest one, let me just put it a color. You can put it a color, let's say like this. And you want to apply the same color style to the rest, you just have to select and use your fill handle to pull it down. So you can see that the color values or the color formatting style will be applied to all. Okay, if you want to choose like 3 colors, you can go ahead and choose 3 colors as well. So it will follow through what you want. But you have to select the first 3 colors, and then you pull it down, and the colors will be filled up for you. Okay, following the same kind of theme. Now, problem will happen if, let's say, you have formulas inside. If you have formulas in it, wait, let me show you. Okay. Now, if you have formulas in your data and you try to do the same thing as what I did just now. So I select these 2 rows, and then I use my fill handle or autofill series, and I pull it down. You will see it, everything changes. So you cannot do this when you have formulas inside. Let me undo. I'm pressing Ctrl Z to undo. Okay. Now instead, when you have formulas inside, what you should do is when you pull it down, you have to right click and pull. All right. When you right click and pull down, and when you release the mouse, it gives you a menu. So here you have to choose fill formatting only, because you're not disturbing the content. You're just adjusting or changing the format. All right. I'll repeat again. If you're going to pull it down using the same formatting here, you have to right click and pull. So it's just a different approach. Right click, pull down. And when you let go of your mouse, you get a menu. And this is where you choose fill formatting only. So it fills up the formatting style for you, and it doesn't disturb the content. Okay. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you is about the wrap text. So earlier today, we just saw the wrap text, right? So wrap text, nothing much to learn. It's just you click and everything will be wrapped up in a cell. I also want to show you something where you can do it manually. Now, if I want to wrap this up, okay, for example, why do I want to wrap this up? Because the space is too big. All right, I need to reduce the space. I need to reduce it. All right. So if you want to do it manually, instead of just clicking this, I'll just show you another option. Another option is you do it like this. Just double click and go into the cell. All right. So when you double click and go into the cell, you can decide where you want to break the line. If you use wrap text, it's pretty much fixed. You can't decide where you want to break. So in this method that I'm showing you, you can decide where you want to break. Let's say I want to break a profit margin. That means after profit margin, it will be the next line. How do I break the next line? You cannot press enter. Enter will take you to the next cell. Okay, So that will not do the job, right? So what you need to do is press alternate enter. Alternate enter. So alternate enter means it will take you to the next line within the same cell. So then you can decide, okay, maybe you want to leave it as it is, like this, and you want to make it smaller. It's fine. But if you want to make it a little bit more smaller, then you decide where you want to break it up. Let's say you want to break it up here. So you press alternate enter. Maybe you want to make it, I don't know, all this is up to you. All this, you have to set it however you want, see? Borders, formatting. All right, so alternate enter to insert a line within a cell. Okay, alternate enter, remember that. How do I transpose data? Okay. First of all, what is transpose? Transpose is this. Like if you look at this dummy data that I have here, the column, if you look at the orientation of this data, it's in vertical form, right? So the column header is all in a vertical format. Now, transposing the data is changing the orientation of how you are displaying the data. That means from the column header, you want to transpose it to become the row header. That is called transpose. This might work for certain data. It might not work for some data. So again, use as and when necessary. But I'm going to show you how to transpose the data. Right? So again, transposing the data means you are converting the column header to rows. That's how you transpose the data. All right. So to transpose the data, firstly, we have to select the data first. Okay. So I'm going to select the data, and then I'm going to copy. I believe you all know the shortcut key, right? Copy is Control-C. If you do not know the shortcut key, it's fine. Just go and click copy here, and it will do the same thing. Copy, right? So once you've copied, you have to choose the place where you want to transpose the data. So this is important. So let's say I want to transpose the data here because at the bottom I have space. So I'm going to click in this cell. You have to choose the cell. Don't simply just click anywhere, then it will be transposed this side. So click on the cell where you want the data to be transposed, and then you go to paste. Don't Control V, okay, because you're not like doing a regular paste. So go to the paste, click on the pull down menu, and go to paste special. Okay, so when you go to paste special, you will see there are so many different types of paste here. What you want to do is check the transpose box. All right, just check the transpose box. You just leave everything as it is. You don't need to change anything, but you check the transpose box. So you will notice, you can see the column header has changed its orientation to the rows. Okay, so it becomes a row header already. Like I said, it doesn't work for every data, but for some data, you might want to transpose it in a different form. So if you find the need to transpose the data, at least you know now how to do it. All right. So copy, paste special, and then transpose. That's all. Okay, copy, paste special, transpose. And from column header, you change the orientation to the rows. Okay, the next also, I find this very important, is called Format Painter. Now, Format Painter is, so many questions. Now, Format Painter is this, you want to copy the format. So when I say formatting, that means, like I mentioned just now, right? You want to change the font, maybe the size, the properties, maybe you want to apply border, fill color, font color, all these are called properties, are called formatting styles. So let's say in this example, look at this, the one that I've put in here. I've applied several formatting styles. So the formatting styles that I've applied here is Calibri, size 18. I'll take a sip of water first. Okay, Calibri, size 18. Bold, okay, made it bold. And then I've also applied actually a thick border around. I've applied this one, thick outside border. Okay. And then I've applied a fill color, blue shade fill color, right? I don't know where's the color now. It's a blue shade fill color, and the font color is black. So there are several formatting styles that I've applied. Number one is Calibri, size 18. It's bold. I've applied a thick border, and I've applied a fill color together with the font color. So 6 different types of formatting style that I've applied. Now, what happens is this: if let's say you're working on multiple worksheets, you're organizing an event, you're organizing something for your clubs, obviously you will have multiple worksheets. One good practice to have is to be consistent in terms of your style. Okay, be consistent. How can you be consistent? Okay, so when you are consistent, now you may tell me, like, you might ask me, okay, it's not a problem, what? I can still do everything myself, what? You know, for example, I click on the cell here, then I still apply. For example, this one is Calibri 18. You know, this one is bold, and then thick border, apply the blue. I can still apply myself, what? Can. But if you want to make things faster, as how I will always encourage you to do, then try to learn what Format Painter does. Okay? Try to do what Format Painter does. This is how Format Painter works. You click on this, the format that you want to copy. Okay? There. And then you will see under the Home tab, Format Painter. Okay? Click under there, then you will see Format Painter. Once you click on this, Format Painter, once you click on the Format Painter, you will see the icon, right? You can see like a brush. What this will do is, it will just copy the format. All you have to do is just click. Can you see? And it will copy exactly the same format. You don't have to do it manually all over again. All right? Now, the problem with this is, you will notice that if, let's say, you want to apply the same formatting in other worksheets, because you've got to be consistent. So then this is where the problem happens, where you have to click here, click on Format Painter, and then click. So there's a lot of clicking that you have to do. Also, even if you want to apply the format into another worksheet, you have to do the same thing, like click this, Format Painter, click on another worksheet, and click this. Okay, so with that, I'm going to show you a shortcut. I always love shortcuts. Yeah? Now, if you want to apply this format, let's say throughout the worksheets, okay, so the same formatting style throughout the worksheets, for example, with all your titles or your title header for your tables, you know. So what you do is you click the cell. Now, instead of clicking on the Format Painter, you double click on the Format Painter, right? This time I showed you is I just click, right? Now, do something different, double click. Okay, double click. What double clicking will do is it will just keep it enabled until you disable it. That's what double clicking will do. All right. So now all you have to do is you just have to click where you want to apply the formatting. It doesn't go off. You see, it doesn't go off. So I can click this. I can click this, and you will notice it doesn't change the content. It only changed the formatting style. So even if I want to apply that same formatting style in a different worksheet, so I have here, I just have to click. So any other worksheets, I don't have any other, but you can just click and you'll be applied. The same kind of formatting style. Okay, let me undo this. Now, once you are done, then you can press Escape. All right. So Format Painter will make your job a lot easier if you're deciding on fixing the formatting style. Okay. Next one that I want to show you is called split data. Yeah. Split data. Yeah. It's already 1.5 hours. I should give you all a short break. Let me see. After this is filter. Can I give you a short break after filter? Let me just finish us split data and filter. This is I realize it's already 1.5 hours. Oh my goodness. Ah, so fast. Just give me about a few more minutes, okay? Then I'll give you a short 10 minutes break. Otherwise, you might have a brain freeze. I keep on talking. Okay. Now, this one is called split the data, right? So the example that I have here is I have a list of student emails, right? And I want to teach you how do you extract the data. So two ways, yeah. Actually, there are more than two ways, which I'll show you later. The first way is I want to show you how to use the left function to extract the student ID. For example, you have filled up a form for an event and you forgot to ask the student to fill up their student ID. Instead, you've only asked them to fill up their student email. So if that is a situation, then what you can do is you can use a function to just extract the student ID from the entire email using the left function. Okay, this one that I'm going to show you as well is to split. Split means you can decide how you want to split. That means, let's say I split in the middle, so I can split the ID with the domain name. So I split it, right? Both of these, you will find you're able to extract the student ID, but it's just using different ways. Huh? Okay, let's do this one. How do you extract using the left function? You start with the equal sign and you put the left. Then open parentheses. When you use any function, my advice is try to look at the parameters. This one inside here, these are called parameters. Parameters act as a form of a guidance, what you should include in within the parentheses. Okay, the first one is the text. That means what is it that you want to extract? So I want to extract from here. So I'm just going to click this A2 and then comma. All right. And then the next parameter says num of characters. That means the number of characters you want to extract, the number of characters. Okay. Now, because it is a left function, so what Excel will do is it will start calculating from the left. Okay. So all our ID numbers, whether it's a staff ID or student ID, has got 10 characters, 10 numbers. So you're asking the software to extract the first 10 numbers for you. Because it's a left function, so it will count at the very left. So this one is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After that, it will stop. And then it will return the value to you. Okay? So press enter. So then you get it very easy how to extract student ID from the entire list. Now, this one is just a different approach, is on splitting. Okay? You're not extracting per se, you are just splitting them both, right? Okay. Now, to split the student ID and the domain name, again, slightly different approach. What you do is you click on the cell here. Okay, click on the cell, and then you go to data. Okay, click on the cell, go to data. Right, under data, I want you to look for text to columns. Okay, go to text to columns. All right, so click here, go to data tab, all right, and choose under the data tools group, text to column. Sorry, forgot one step. You must select first, select first. Because you're splitting the data. So the Excel need to know what data you want to split. Sorry, miss one step already. So select first, select first, and then text to column. Now correct. Okay, so after you have selected the data, you click text to column, it will give you this little menu, all right? And then it says here, choose the file type that best describes your data. Now, I want you to choose delimited. I will explain what a delimiter is. Okay, choose delimited and then go next. Now, delimiter means at what point you want to split the data. Okay, that is called a delimiter. At what point you want to split the data. So is it a tab? Is it a semicolon in between? Is it a comma in between? Do you have a space? None of these apply. I don't have a tab. I don't have a semicolon anywhere here. I don't have a comma anywhere here. I don't have a space, nothing. All right. But what I do have common in all of the email addresses is the alias symbol. So that is where I'm going to use as a delimiter to split my data from the ID to the domain name. Okay, can follow, right? That is called a delimiter. And then click next. Right. After you click next, they're asking you where is the destination of the splitted value you want to be. You want to put, I mean. Okay? Like here is written at A2. A2 is here. That means you want it to overwrite the existing data. I don't want to overwrite. I want to put it here under C. So all I have to do is I just have to change the location. So I'm just going to do it manually from A to C. Okay, I don't want to overwrite, so I click finish. So then what you can see is it already split the data. Can you see? Split, the ID and the domain name. And what was the delimiter that it used to split? It was the alias symbol. All right. Now, later on, I will show you, for example, let's say you have your regular email address, your personal email address, where it involves names. Now, when it involves names, how do you use the left function? Because different names have different length. Some names are short, some names are long. How do you fix the length? So then it becomes a little bit more trickier. But I will show you later. Okay, how do you work with complicated data? All right. Next one, filter and sort. Okay, filter and sort is actually a very, very quick way to really like filter the data and see what you want to see. All right, I love to use this function because it's so quick and easy. All you have to do is to, let's say, select the data. All right, select the data, and then you go to filter. If you go to filter, you can sort and filter also. If you go to sort, you can only sort. So I prefer to use filter. Okay, so go to filter. Now, the minute you click filter, you will see like the pull down menu here. Did you notice that? Yeah, undo again. So now it's blank, but the minute you click filter, you will see like a pull down menu here. So let me enlarge it a bit. Okay. What this pull down menu can do for us, many things, right? So let's say I go to the color. Okay. You can actually filter by colors. So it's actually a very quick way to do a quick analysis. For example, you want to see cars that are green. All right, then you click OK. So you can see, you can filter them out. This is like a very quick way to analyze or to just see something. All right, so you can see in terms of the color. Or you can just go back and click all, no problem. Or you want to see the model, for example, specifically. Let's say you only want to see one model, which is Camry. Then you click OK, so it tells you, okay, you have this, only one. If you want to choose Camry and Civic, then you have only two, like that. So it's a very quick way to actually filter things out. So like I mentioned just now, you can also sort, right? So you can sort from A to Z or Z to A, like that. So sort can only sort, but filter can sort and filter as well. All right, so I like to do this actually. Right, so you can sort from the smallest to the largest, or from the largest to the smallest. Okay, let's take a short, quick break, and then we will continue with the rest. I want to do tables, charts, and all that. So far, so good? Let me know. Boleh? Hussein? Thank you. Now it's 3:36. Okay, let's make it 3:40 lah. So 3:40, we come back at 3:50. Is it okay? Good. Okay, thank you. We come back at 3:50, yeah? Thank you. 3:50. Short break. Don't forget to fill up your form. Okay, it's 3:50. Let's continue here. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So we are still in part one. Time doesn't seem to be on our side. It's moving a bit way too fast. But anyway, let's try to finish what I have prepared for you. Okay. So now we're going to start. We're going to continue where we left off. So previously, before the break, we looked at split data and filters and sort. So now we're going to move on to table, charts, freeze panes, pivot tables, and so forth. Okay. Let me enlarge this first. Now, why did I have a separate worksheet on table? You might be wondering, didn't we just create a table here just now? My answer to you is, this is actually not a table. Repeat, yeah? This one is actually not a table. Surprise, it is not set as a table. Okay, if you do it like this, it's just called data, that's all, random data, but it's not set as a table. Now, you might be asking me then, what is a table? What are the benefits of a table? And why do I need to convert my data into a table? So I'm going to answer all of the questions now, okay? Now, I will demonstrate to you. Then you can tell me which is better, okay? Data with borders or a table. Now, the same data I'm going to be using. So just now we calculated the profit margin, correct? So what we did was we put the equal sign. We took the sales price minus the cost price. Now, this one is a table. So I want you to observe properly what is the difference. Okay, this is already a table. I've got to inform you. This one is a table. Okay, so I took the same thing, sales price minus the cost price, and I'm going to press enter. Can you see what instantly happened? I did not have to double click. I did not have to double click to fill up the data. I did not have to take the fill handle and pull it down. Automatically, the data got filled up. Automatically. Why this happened is because I converted this data into a table. So when you convert things into a table, they have a special function called the calculated columns. Calculated columns means you don't have to use your fill handle anymore. When you convert your data into a table, it will automatically fill things up. Okay, so that is a table. So you might be asking me, how do I convert then this regular data into a table? Okay, if you want to convert this into a table, you have to select first. So normally I will still select the header. Yeah? So select the data that you want to convert into a table, and then you go to insert. Okay, go to insert table. So select first, insert table. Right, so they will ask you where is the data for your table, because you've already selected, so you don't have to select. If you did not select and you go to insert table, then that is where you have to do the selection. So any approach or any direction is okay, right? But you've already selected the data that you want to be in the table, and then the other checkbox that is already checked by default is my table has headers. That's right, you already have a column headers. Then you click OK. Now, once you do that, your data has been converted to a table. So let me just do this again. You see, so once it is converted to a table, the calculated column function is enabled. So when you do any kind of formula or function, so profit margin equals to this minus the cost, when you press enter, it fills up automatically. Okay, so that is one of the advantages when you convert it into a table. Now, the other advantages for a table is easy to read because you don't have to apply the formatting style manually. Like this now here, I applied it manually. Remember, I applied green, I applied yellow, and then what I did was I used the fill handle by right-clicking it. I pull it down, right-click, then I let go, then I fill up this one. But when you have a table, you don't have to do all this because they already have, I don't know, they already have the design here. You see, the table styles. So all you have to do is just choose a design that you like. Like that. So normally we choose a table styles where it's easy for us to read and differentiate the data, right? So I think that is depending on your preference, yeah, depending on your preference. So whichever style enables you to read the data clearer, you choose that style. So you don't have to do it manually again, like how we did just now. Now, the other advantage of a table is they have this function called the total row. Okay, let me show you where that is. Huh? Now, when you click on the table, okay, now, how you know, let me go back first, how you know if the data is a table? That one might be a question also. How do I know? So if I have data here, how do I know if I click this, it's a table? This is the answer. If you click on the table and it is a table, you will see this appear. Can you see? The table tools design tab will appear. If it is not a table, this one will not appear. This one, okay, see, yeah? Can you see? This is not a table. So when I click anywhere here, the table tools tab doesn't appear. This is not a table, okay? This one is a table. Now, the total row is, you go to the design tab under the table, and there is a checkbox that says total row. Okay. So by default, it is not checked. Now check on this. Check it. Okay, let me put the style first. Okay. No, I don't like the style. Okay. So when you click on the total row, you will see Excel will add another row with the total value. All right. This is very useful for certain reasons. Number one is because it's a pull-down menu. So if you have a total here, you can actually change the function. So if you like to know the total, it's there. But if you like to know, for example, the average, you can just change it. Use this if it works for you. If you think the data that you have doesn't work, then don't use it. All right. But one of it is called the total row. So you can actually change the functions here to match what you want to do. So the max, what is the mean, okay? You need to know the sum, you need to know something, whatever that standard deviation and sort of. Okay, so that is a table, huh? Right. Now let me move on to the charts. Now to insert a chart, of course it's very easy, huh? But there are also several ways. Now, if your data has been converted to a table, it's a lot easier to insert a chart, and I'll tell you why. Now, for example, this one is actually a table because when I click on the table tool appears. This one is also a table. Now, if it is not a table, what you need to do in order to insert a chart is you have to select the data. Okay, you have to do this extra step. That means you have to select the data like this, and then go to insert and choose your recommended chart. But if it is a table, you don't have to select anymore. You just click. Just click anywhere inside. Okay, you just click anywhere inside, and then you can choose the chart. All right. Now, if you know what chart to create for that data, then I think it's well and good for you. But if you have no clue, let's say you don't quite, I can't imagine, okay, this type of data, what kind of chart should I create? I'm not quite sure. If you're on that note, you're not sure, you're uncertain, then go with recommended charts. Okay, so just click anywhere in the table, click recommended charts. Okay, and it will recommend to you some amount of charts. Choose what is necessary or choose what is suitable for you. If you think a line chart is suitable, go ahead. If you think the clustered column chart is suitable, go ahead, and then you click OK. There you have it. And of course, when you have a basic chart like this, you might want to adjust it, for example, by modifying the chart element. The normal things we do, it would be the axis titles, yeah, like primary horizontal is the x-axis, and then you have the primary vertical, that is the y-axis, and all that. You can just click and insert the description for it. Same thing with this. All right. Now, something else that I want to show you in terms of chart. I think this one you're probably familiar with it. Okay, let me push it to the side. The sample data that I have here is, let's say, the number of years, 2016 to 2021, and these are the number of webinar and seminar organized by clubs and societies, let's say in MMU. Okay, so 2016 we've got 500 seminars, 800, and so forth. Now, in this second table, I have the same data, yeah? So I took the same data here, I copied here, the same value here, I copied here, but I added another column to show the profit obtained from organizing the seminars or webinars. So now I've got two types of data that I want to project. How do I project this type of data where I got two types of data? I want to project it in the chart. Okay, so I'm going to show you this. First is you click anywhere in the table, just click on it because it's a table, so you don't need to select, just click. And then go to insert recommended charts. Okay, insert recommended charts. So just now we went here, right? Now this time go to all charts. Okay, all charts. Now, because I'm going to combine two different values, I'm going to go to combo. Can you see there's an icon here that says combo? Combo means you're combining two different types of values or data, right? So when you go to combo, then you can see several things here. So basically what you have to do is you have to decide which series you want it to be the secondary. Secondary axis will be this side. This is your primary axis, okay? So which one? So you have to see which one is suitable for you. Okay. All right, like that. Okay, let's say this is the number of webinars. This is the profit that have been achieved, for example. And then you click OK. So you have to decide on this, you know? And then you have to decide, let's say you want both clustered column or you want one. It will be nice to have one clustered column and then one line so you can actually see the difference. You can see, does it match or not? The number of webinars that you have organized matching with the profit that you have obtained, like that. Okay, so that's called a combo chart. Combo chart, meaning two different data set and you combine it in one graph. And of course, just change all of these accordingly. Okay, if you're not sure about changing all these elements, please let me know. Otherwise, I might just assume that you're okay with it. All right. Okay, next one. Freeze pane. All right. Now, freeze pane is this. You have column headers. I think it's easier for you to see. You have column headers and you have the data. Now, if you have a lot of data and when you scroll down, you will find yourself suddenly becoming confused because you cannot remember column B is representing what data. So the minute you cannot remember, especially when it comes to numbers, the minute you cannot remember, what happens is you scroll back up. Oh, okay, this one is mileage. This one is price. This one is cost. And then you scroll down again. And then halfway through, you get confused and you say, this one is cost or price? No, like cost. It cannot be. This one could be price. You know, so then you scroll back up to confirm, okay, this one is price, cost. Of course, cost has to be lower than price lah, okay? But anyway, sometimes we might get confused. So in that kind of situation, what we want to do is freeze the pane. Okay, in this case, we want to freeze the row. We can also freeze the column, no problem. I'll show that later. Okay, how to freeze? Go to View. Okay, go to your View tab. All right, View tab, and you will see a function called Freeze Panes. Okay, you see a function called Freeze Panes. I won't show you about column now. I'll show you about column later because I've got a data set where I can demonstrate about column freeze. Huh? Now there are two options here: freeze panes and freeze top row. I'll tell you what is the difference. All right. Now this one is very clear. It's clear cut. This is the top row because there's no rows above it. So in this kind of situation, it's very clear. If you want to freeze the pane, you go to the freeze panes option and you click freeze top row. When you click on freeze top row, it will freeze the top row so that when you scroll down, can you see the column header doesn't move away. So end of the day, you don't get confused. You don't get confused. All right, you will definitely know this one is mileage, this is price, this is cost. You will definitely know it for sure. All right. Now, what is the difference with this one? Okay, let me unfreeze for a while. Can I click on freeze panes? Yes, but freeze panes works if, let's say, you have other rows above this. Okay, let's say you have the title, you have some logo, you have a big title, big header, you have something up there, then that is where you will use freeze panes. How to use free panes? Just hold on to that thought. I have a sample data to work with later. Okay, for now, I'm just going to teach you about the freeze first row. This one. We go with this one first. Okay, we freeze the top row first. Step one. Okay, later I will show you about the column and I'll show you about the other option, this one. Okay, next one. All right, pivot table. So pivot table is not part of the plan because pivot table is actually more on data analysis lah, yeah. But because somebody asked me, so I thought I'll just give you a glimpse of what pivot table is. Now, pivot table is a very powerful tool that enables you to analyze data in many different aspects. So that's where it becomes a very powerful analysis tool. You can actually go through training or workshops for the entire day just on pivot table. That's how extensive pivot table analysis is. All right. But if you want to know the basics of pivot table, of course, you must have a set of data to work with, and you have to go to insert pivot table. Okay, insert pivot table. What I've done just now is I've selected the data. Okay, insert pivot table. All right, now I've already selected the range. Yeah, so you don't have to select it again. If you go to insert pivot table, then you have to select the range. Okay, so you can go in either that direction. Yes. Choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. Normally, I would definitely prefer a new worksheet. If you choose the existing worksheet, you might appear it here. So sometimes it might be, I don't know, it's too many things. You have the original data, then you also have the pivot table. So I prefer to always have it in a new worksheet. Okay, then you click OK. What happens is you will notice it gives you a new worksheet. So your original data is here. You can see this is the original data. You see the pivot table, and they've given you a new worksheet here. All right. So with pivot table, it will actually you can actually summarize things and analyze data from this. Now, for example, let's say you can drag and drop, or you can just check. Let's say you can drag and drop, or you want to just check the box also can. Let's say colors. You want to put in the price, for example. Okay, maybe this one doesn't make much sense. Okay, but you can drag and drop. But if you want to make it a little bit more sense, perhaps I can right click. I can summarize the value by count. Okay, this one will make better sense. Okay, so you can do a lot of things. You know, you can right click and you can summarize values by different ways. So like in this case, because I put in the color, okay, and I've summarized the values by count. That means I want to know how many black cars have been sold, how many blue cars have been sold, how many silver cars have been sold. So this type of data is very useful because if let's say you're in the marketing field, you want to know what are the most common preferred colors. So when you analyze data like that, you can say, oh, okay, the preferred colors are definitely black and silver. So maybe we can produce more shades of black cars or different shades of silver cars, you know, these kind of things. So pivot table will help you make better informed decisions. All right. So I'll leave you to play around with this. You can just drag, drop. You want to filter it, no problem. So all these things you can do. Okay. Now the next one that I want to show you is the QR code. This one. Okay. QR code. I know for a lot of things that we organize, because everyone is at home, right? We're working from home, we are studying from home. We use the QR code a lot. So I thought, why not add this in? Microsoft Office have an add-ins for QR code. Okay, so I know the regular or the normal way of inserting a QR code is you go to the browser, you click on QR code generator. You probably have a favorite URL or a favorite website that you always go to, right? So whatever the, hold on, it's very slow suddenly. Okay, so whatever website you go to generate the QR code, basically we will just drop in, copy the URL, and then the code will be generated, and then we will save the code as a picture, and then we will insert the QR code as a picture, depending on where we are inserting, whether we inserting in a graphic software or whether we are inserting in a PowerPoint or we are inserting in Word, doesn't matter, right? But normally this is the way. So I want to eliminate all that steps of opening the URL to the QR code generator, copying and pasting the URL, saving the picture or copying the picture, then you got to paste. So there's actually so many minor steps, even though it's very easy. But I want to eliminate all those steps and show you maybe an easier way how you can insert a QR code. So this method you can actually use for all the softwares. You can use for Word, you can use for PowerPoint, no problem. So you have to actually install an add-in. Okay, where to go to install the add-ins? You go to Insert. Okay, go to Insert. And then you will see the button here, Get Add-ins. Actually, I already have it here. Okay, it's loading. But I'll show you where to go to add in. Yeah? It's loading, but it's basically here. Let me show you. So you go to Get Add-ins. Okay. So go to the Get Add-ins, and then under the search box, you just type QR code. QR code, you search for it. Then you will get this one, QR for Office. Right? QR for Office. So you just add it in. I thought I already had. Hold on, let me just double check. I already have this here. Oh, it takes so long to load. Do it again. Okay, so one moment, just click continue. Okay, so when you add it in, you will actually see it here. There is finally, okay. Finally, it has loaded. All right, so once you have installed the add-in, it will be here. All right, so you can actually click this, and when you click this, it will appear on the right. So this is very easy. All we have to do is, you see, you just type in the URL here. You type google.com. Okay, it generates a QR code very fast. You have the options, of course, to change the color. I don't know if this is something that you like to do. Not something that I would like to do. Okay, you can change the size, make it bigger, for example, and then insert. So when you click insert, it automatically inserts into the document. Okay. So it saves you a lot of time by going through that so many steps or so many methods. And this one, you can actually use it for PowerPoint, or you can actually use it for Microsoft Word as well. Okay, just insert. Okay. So need some time to insert. Right, so if you go to, let's say, PowerPoint, it's also there. Right, insert, okay, my add-ins, QR Office. Okay, and it's also there in Microsoft Word. Insert, go to the add-in. Same thing, because it's the same umbrella of software. See? Okay, so if you've not tried this, try it. It's easy. Make things done much faster. All right. Okay, let me move on to the last one for part one. Let me close this. It is called mail merge. Now, mail merge I find is very useful, especially for clubs and societies. Okay, I'm really not sure if you have used mail merge before, or you understand what mail merge does. Mail merge is actually to send a mass amount of emails, but you want it customized. Okay, so you want to send customizable mass emails. That means, let's say you have you're organizing an event and you have a guest list, for example, hundreds of guests. And for each of the guests, you want to send a customized email, different email. For example, dear the guest name, you have not paid the ticket price, or perhaps you want to say, okay, your seat number is so and so, or you want to say to another customer, this is your receipt. So you want it to be customizable, but yet you want it to happen automatically. Of course, you can do it manually, but it's going to take you a long time. So I'm going to teach you a faster way how you can send customizable email quickly. Okay, mass email. Now with this, we actually need to use Google Sheets, right? Now, if you have never done it before, you'll find it a little bit tricky. So what I've done is I've actually created some screenshots, right? I created some screenshots just to guide you through the steps visually, all right? So let me go through one by one slowly if you've never done it before. Now, the first thing that you need to do is First thing that you need to do is you need to download this add-on. Mail Merge is an add-on. Now, if I were to ask you a question, what is the difference between add-on and add-ins? Okay, so the difference between add-ins and add-ons is the same. Only thing, add-ins is used by Microsoft. Add-ons is a term that is being used by Google. So Google will always say add-ons. Microsoft will always say add-ins. But basically, it's the same thing. You add in a function or you add in a sub-function. Okay. You need to install this. So I thought I'll make it easier for you by giving you the link to where you can install this. You can just click on the link that I provided in the chat column. So if you click on the link, it will take you to the Google Workspace Marketplace. Like this. Because I already have it installed, so that's why you see the word uninstalled here. But if you are installing for the first time, you should see it like this. See it like that, yeah, install. Very, very fast. You can just click and then you install like within seconds. Okay. So you need to install this first. Right. So if you're trying out with me, just go ahead and just click install. Now, the second step is you have to open a new browser and you have to go to the a new Google Worksheet. So go to your browser. And the shortcut key to open a new spreadsheet is this one, sheets.new. This is a shortcut. Open to a new Google Sheet. If you want to know the shortcut to open Google Docs, the same thing, docs.new. So you open a new Google Docs instantly. If you want to know for Google Slides, also same, slides new. If you a quick a quick way to open a new file, Google products. Yeah? But we're not working on Google Slides, so I'm going to close this. We're not working on Google Docs as well, so I'm going to close this. We need the spreadsheet. So once you have opened the spreadsheet, now let me show you what is the next step. So this one is open new browser, done. Now the next step is you have to enable the mail merge. So just now we only install, but if you want to use mail merge, you have to enable it. Okay, how to enable it? I do slowly, let's see if I can zoom in. Go to add-ons because we have installed an add-on, right? Go to add-ons. Mail merge with attachments. Enable mail merge. That's all. This is how you enable it. It's very clearly, explicitly written here. So click. Wait for it. Wait for it. Huh? All right. So you will see mail merge is now enabled for this worksheet. So what this is telling you is, if you have enabled the mail merge in this worksheet, you cannot open another worksheet and create your mail merge there. It will not work because this one has got scripting programming codes inside. It's got some scripts. So if you enable it here, you must use it here. Okay, don't open any other worksheets. All right, then close. Close. So now the mail merge is enabled for this spreadsheet. Okay, now next step. Next step is you have to create a merge template. Okay, next step is create a merge template. So we've already enabled. Now we have to create. Go back here. How to create? Go back to the same place. Add-ons, mail merge with attachments, and you will see the first one, create merge sheet. So click on this. Okay, just click on it. You will see a few things happening. Okay, so what you see instantly happen is the spreadsheet will insert a few columns. You see, I didn't add this. It was instantly created for you, for us. So what we can do with this is we can customize this. We can delete, we can add, we can do a lot of different things. All right, I will come to you in a while for that. Okay, create. Now the next step is we have to import context. So there are actually three ways. There are actually three ways how you can insert the contact. One is a manual insertion. One is you import through Google Contacts. One is you import from Excel file. I will show you all three because I think it's very important for me to show you the difference and to show you what each of these does. Because you cannot use mail merge without context. Okay, I'll show you this one first. The manual insertion. Manual insertion means if you type in manually the context, that is called manual insertion. This is of course possible if you don't have much to send. If you have, like, for example, only 10 guest lists, 5 customers, then I think manual insertion is fine. But if you have hundreds of guest lists, of course, this is not a suitable option. Then the most suitable option is either Google Contacts or the Excel file. Okay, so I'll show you that in a while. So manual insertion is just inserting manually. Now, before you insert manually, I want to talk a little bit about this. Now, this is how the mail merge works. You have to know what are the types of data you want to have in your email. So for example, let me just compose a simple email. Let's say you want to have dear, then you want to put the name of the person. Okay, so dear so-and-so, comma, thank you. For example, thank you for your this is to inform you that your seat number is something. So you put in the seat number value. Just one simple email. And then you put in whoever the program manager or the program leader. So when you compose a simple email like this, how you can make it customizable is you want, of course, everybody has got different names. So you're sending, let's say, 100 emails, but in each of the email, you want to put that specific customer name inside or the guest name. And then for each of the email, you want to, of course, the seat numbers are different. So you want to assign different seat number like that. So what values you want to insert in your email, that is where you have to put in here. So what you put in here must match what you want to write in your email. Okay. So if you want to talk about payment, also can. For example, this is maybe you don't put thank you. This is to inform you that you have not paid your ticket for event something. Let's say whatever the event is. Like that also can. So in this situation, oh no, maybe you want to put amounting, right? Say amounting, then you put the ticket. So in this situation, you are actually extracting from the Excel the event name, and you're also extracting the ticket price that the customer or the guest owe you lah. Okay, so however you want to do is up to you. Let me just show you some examples. How do you customize this? Let's say, I don't know, in Malaysia, we hardly use the first name, last name, right? Because we have Chinese names, Malay names, and all that. So I'm going to delete this. I'm not so interested. Email address, of course, you cannot delete. You need the email addresses if not how to send. File attachment, it depends. If you're attaching, let's say, a receipt, invoice, then you might want to have a file attachment. Schedule date, I don't know, maybe I put here ticket price. I want to add a column, I can just right click. I taught you how to add a column, right? I'm going to add insert to the left. Maybe I put the ticket number. Maybe I'm going to put also maybe the payment status. This will do for now. So I got the first name, I got the email addresses, file attachment, ticket price, payment status, ticket number. Okay, mail merge status also is something you do not delete because mail merge status will be done by the software. They will tell us, okay, this email has been sent successfully like that. All right. So don't delete the email address and don't delete the mail merge. So let me show you the manual insertion first. Let's say I put in my name to myself, so you can see how it works. Okay. Okay, it's the correct email. Ticket price, let's say, okay, so I buy the ticket for 30 ringgit. Payment status, I didn't pay for the ticket. So ticket number, maybe you assign. I don't know if you want to assign that. Okay, so assuming I have some values here, all right, so I can put in as many values, no problem, huh? No problem. Now I just try out with one first, just to let you see how it works. Once I've already decided what I want to put in the email, the next step or the final step, I've already imported one, okay, will be to configure. I will show you this in a while. This one I'll show you later. Okay. Configure. So this is the last step. Now, where you go to configure, you go to add-ons, mail merge with attachments. Okay, and then you will see very clearly configure mail merge. Okay, configure mail merge. So click on it and wait for it to appear on the right. Okay, so when you go through configure mail merge, don't do it very fast. Do it slowly because you want to make sure that you're sending the right thing to the right person. Okay. Sender's email, of course, is very important. I'm the sender, so the sender's email must be correct. Sender's name. Now, this is where you can actually put in your name like this. You can put in your name. But if you're organizing an event and you're a program leader or program manager, sometimes people might not know who you are, especially if it's outside of MMU, for example. So what I would advise you to do is put a bracket and say program manager for, let's say, event X. Like, even if you send to somebody whom you're not quite sure will know you, when you put it like this, they will say, oh, okay, yeah, I bought a ticket for event X, so I know who is this. Okay. CC address, BCC, I don't know. This one, normally I do not put it, so I'll just ignore this. Continue. But this is also something I don't use because we are not a newsletter, where you need you need to track. We're not a marketing platform, so I normally just ignore this part. Okay, I don't need to track the emails. There's no need lah. Yeah? So I normally ignore this part. Then I go to continue. This one is, which type of email template would you like to use for your campaign? You can choose, I will only recommend the first two. Either you can use a Gmail draft. Sometimes you might have a draft in your email account. You can use that. I think you know how a Gmail draft looks like. So I thought I will show you with a visual editor. Okay, show you with a visual editor. Now, before I show you with the visual editor, let me show you, explain to you how to write it, how to code it. Now, if this is a little bit like programming here, if you want to extract this from here, all you have to do is use this symbol. To extract, this is what we call as variables. To extract the value from the variable, you have to use double curly bracket, open and close. Double curly bracket like that. So if you want the Excel to extract the data under the first name, so you type in first name like this, close double curly bracket for me. So when the software sees this, they see first name as a variable, they won't extract this one, they will extract the data. Okay? So they'll put here Lilian and Lilian. Then let's say this is to inform you that you have not paid your ticket for event. Oh, I don't have any event here. Right? Maybe I'll change this. This is to inform you that you have not paid your ticket for event, then you want to extract the event XYZ. So what you do is double curly bracket, then you type event. Always put the name of the column header. This is your variable. Okay, close double curly bracket. Are not paid, amounting to what? So you have to extract the data from the ticket price, this one. Okay, so open curly bracket like this. I type in the ticket price. Double click. So you have to construct your email this way so that the data will be extracted from the Google Sheet list. Okay, yeah? I'm going to click on the visual editor here. Wait for it. Have a look. Okay. I can paste it. So if you don't want to paste, also can. You can just type it. Okay. Here, I'll show you. Here, first name. That comma. Again, this is to inform you that you have not paid your the event name, right? So double. What did I put it under? Event, isn't it? Event. The name of the variable must match, yeah? Okay, it must match, right? Not paid, which is so which is amounting, and then I want to extract my ticket price. So curly bracket 2 times. The variable name is ticket price. Close my curly bracket. Maybe you want to put your program. If you cannot remember the variable names, you can actually put it here also. You can say, if you cannot remember the variable names, you can go here to guide. See, all the variable names that you have in your Google Sheet is listed here. Right? So this can act as a guide as well. Suddenly you forget, did you put it as ticket price or did you put it as price? So you can double check here. And then you click, subject, okay. So not the information, let's say, payment. You want to put the event, right? So let's say I put this. Payment status for whatever the event is. So I'm going to save it. So you can always click on the visual editor again to check. So you can just check if you're not sure. So just make sure the content is good. I don't know why it's taking such a long time to load. Don't worry, it's coming. It's coming. Okay. Finally. All right. So make sure everything is good and okay. Then save. And then click continue. So of course, my advice is before you run the mail merge, try to send a test email. Okay. So I will send you the test email like this. So click. If you go to run mail merge, that means if you have 100 guest lists here, it will be sending the mail to all the 100. All right, so just to make sure you're on the safe side, always send a test email. Always send it to yourself. I think that's the best thing that you can do. All right, so test email sent. So can you see? Okay. So you can see. All right, amounting to 30 ringgit. So it will be extracted like that. So all the data will be extracted like that. You know. So you can actually do it like this. Okay. Now the other method that I wanted to show you is if you need to import the context. Okay, let me show you how to import the context. Sorry. Just now I had where's my split data? Okay. Let me just copy this. Copy. If you want to import the data from Excel, always start with a new file. Okay, start with a new file. All right. Let's say I just put the new one. Assuming you already have one, let's say the name as well as the email addresses that you want to send to. Now, when you save this file, you go to File, Save As. You go to File, Save As, Browse. Okay, File, Save As, Browse. Just place it wherever you want. Let's say I'm going to place it in the Downloads folder of mine, and I'm going to save it as a contact. Okay. Now, don't save it as Excel. Okay, it will not be able to do that. You have to save it as a different format, which is comma delimited, so CSV. Right? You have to save it as CSV if you want to import the context. Go to CSV, comma delimited, and then click Save. So you can close this, and then you can just double check under the Downloads folder. You'll be able to see this one. So this is the file that you want. It has to be CSV, so you can see the outlook of the shape also looks different. Okay, how do you put it in Excel? Now, if you want to import, let me go back to the slider. If you want to import your contact using Google Contacts, you must be able to save it here. Like for me, I don't have any Google Contacts, so you go to Add-ons, right? So under the mail merge with attachments, you can import the Google context, right? So if you have Google context, you can use this. Like for me, I don't have, so it's not possible for me to demonstrate here, right? But at least if you have, this is where you go to import. If you're using Excel to import, this is where you need to go to. So you go to File, Import. Okay, File, Import. Okay, I'm going to open the file first. So I'm going to select on my device. The file is in here, this one. Click on it, open. Okay, so this is important. So the file name, yes, is contact.csv. Do you want to create a new spreadsheet? No, you need to append. Okay, because you already have a spreadsheet, so you need to append. Append means add on. Append. Detect automatically? Yes, please. Import. So you can see, so you don't have to type it manually, you can just import. So then you start the process again of, this one, configure the mail merge. So when you do this, then whatever you configure will be sent to all the lists here at one go. But yet you can customize. Okay, so that's how mail merge works. So if you've never tried this before, try it first for the first time. It's not the same as just watching me do it. Right? Try it out. Okay. So mail merge is done for part 1. I still have 20 minutes. Oh no. Okay, I'm going to quickly move on to part 2. Let's see if there's any questions. Questions. Thank you. Okay. Now, part 2 is just an example of application. So in this application, okay, let me enlarge it a bit. This is the annual fees for members for this club. All right. So I have 2 worksheets here. One is the annual fees for the year 2021. And the second worksheet is just to show you the history from 2017 all the way to 2021. Now, for example, these are the member names and these are the fees to be paid. So I just put it as random. These are all just dummy data. Yeah? So let's say these are the amount of fees and these are the amount that they have paid. So if you want to know the balance, then it is a quick formula, which is this, E4 minus this. Please remember, this is not a table. So because this is not a table, when I inserted the first formula, the values didn't appear automatically. So if you want the values to appear automatically faster without pulling it down, then convert the entire data into a table. You will see your work is a lot more faster. So select the entire data, insert a table, and then click OK. You have to change the color of the header. I don't think that is a big problem. So when you do the balance here, I say equal total fees to be paid minus the amount, then you get a quick data. Okay, this is called calculated columns. Now, when you look at the second worksheet, okay, you can see that it lists all the amount that the members have paid before this. And it's also asking you to fill up the value here, the one that has been paid, value here. So basically what we have to do is take the values listed here, the amount that has been paid by all the members, and copy it in the second worksheet. Okay, so I'm going to Control-C to copy. So I've copied this part, and now I need to paste it here. When you are working with multiple worksheets, you do not paste the regular paste, that means do not Control-V. Why? Is because if you have made any changes, if there's any errors, it will not be updated automatically. Instead, what you should do is right click, okay, under the paste options, go and paste link. This is very important. So the minute you paste link, what has happened is it has formed a link between two of the worksheets. So at any point of time, okay, let me go up first. At any point of time, if there's an error, for example, oh, we realize the amount paid by this person in Cik Malik is not 100, it's actually he paid 200, we made a mistake. So when you put 200 to change here, therefore the balance is 49, right? The 200 here, updated here automatically. Can you see the changes here? That is why it's important for you to paste link. Don't paste the regular paste. All right. Total, again, to work out the total, if you still remember, the shortcut key is alternate enter. Okay, alternate enter to calculate the total and then press enter. Why it didn't work out the entire data? Because it is not a table. So convert to a table. Okay, I think you know that already. Okay, convert to a table. Okay, next I'm going to show you about VLOOKUP function. Okay, VLOOKUP. Now, VLOOKUP is actually for you want to look up a certain value from the list of table here. So you might argue with me, why do you need a VLOOKUP? You can just control F to find something. You can do that. But if you have a lot of data, right, you will find that VLOOKUP is very useful. So VLOOKUP is useful if you have lots and lots of data and you just want to look up a certain value. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So how this VLOOKUP function works is, if let's say you insert the member ID here in this cell, the member name and the total they have paid will automatically appear. So it makes our work a lot easier rather than scrolling down, Control F, finding and all those things. To work, I hope you can see. So we're going to start with a member name. So that's where I'm going to click. And to insert a VLOOKUP function, you put the equal sign. Okay, equal sign, always start equal sign. You type in the VLOOKUP. When you see it like this, to insert the function or the formula in, press tab, not enter, press tab. Okay, so inside this VLOOKUP, there are actually 4 parameters you need to put in. The first one is the lookup value. Lookup value means it will look up the value in the data based on what? So based on member ID. Okay, so the lookup value will be the member ID, comma. The next one is the table array. Table array is asking you to actually select the entire table. All right. So I'm going to select the entire table here. But you only select the data. Yeah? Don't select any other things. The headers are not data. Headers are just column headers. Numbering is also not data. Okay. So I only like to select the data. Now, the next one is asking you is the column index number. Column index number is this. When you have selected your data, you have to count how many columns you have. So in this case, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 columns of data. This one is asking you at what column the member name is located, at what column. So member name is at column 1, column 2. Column 1 is member ID, column 2 is name. So you put in the number 2 here. So the software will look at column number 2, comma. The next one, you have to either write a true or a false. True means approximate match. False means exact match. So obviously we want to write false because we are looking for exact match. Why true or false? Don't ask me. This is how it's been programmed. Okay, you just type in as how it's been required. False because we want the exact match. Close parentheses. Press enter. Okay. You see it like this, don't worry because there's no values here. Right? If you're not sure, you can just try to put in a value. say 1052. Okay. So I think right. The same for the total. Just to repeat this VLOOKUP again, you put the equal sign, you put the VLOOKUP. Okay. The lookup value, of course, will be definitely based on member ID, comma. A table array you have to select. If you create a table, actually it'll be easy, but I didn't create a table, but maybe later I can show you how easy it is to create a table. Actually, you eliminate the, the highlighting part, if you create a table. I'll show you the long way, then the short way, okay? All right. And then a column index number, you have to count at what column the total is displayed or presented. Column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's at column 8. So make sure you put in the right column index number. And then the last parameter will be false. Close bracket. Okay. And then press enter. So you can see that it will extract the value here. All right. So at any one point of time, if you need to look up a value, let's say just any random value, I'm putting this one, 1512. 1512. It's Badrul Hussain, and then the total is 709. Okay, so that's how a lookup function works. Now, if I'm going to show you very quickly, if I convert to a table, okay, just bear with me, bear with me. So I select the data, I go to insert table, okay, then okay. So I'm going to do the same thing, right? So I'm going to go to VLOOKUP. It's the same thing. So the VLOOKUP value is this. Yeah, sorry, should delete this one first. The lookup value will be based on the member ID, comma. Now the table array is you put in table. I have to show you something first. What does that? I forgot this step. You have every table that you insert, it will have a number. Because just now I also inserted a table, right? So this is table 1. Okay, table 1. So under the design tab, you will see it labeled as table 1. So this one is the second table that I created. So therefore, this will be table 2. So this is important for us to note. Okay. Now I continue, yeah? So equal sign, VLOOKUP, open bracket, lookup value is the member ID. Okay, as we did just now. Table array, all you have to do, just now what we did was we selected the entire table. So this can be a problem if the table is very long. Let's say you have thousands of records, then it's a problem. Okay. So what you do is you type in table, and you can see the table 1 and table 2. So you have to remember to choose the correct table. So this one is table 2, right? So make sure you select table 2, comma. Okay, and then column index number, and then false. The rest is all the same. Oh, I know why it doesn't work, sorry. Because it doesn't work because I selected the number. Sorry, I undo this one first. I mentioned, right, when you select the table, it cannot be the numbering. Numbering is not the data, So yeah, let me do it again. Now this is table 3 already. One more time. To deal with formula and functions, you must be on point. Huh? So place, comma, table. So table 3, column number 2, false. One works. Yes, it does. Okay. So let's be cautious of the mistake. All right. The numbering is not data. Okay. So this one will be the same also. You put in the VLOOKUP. Lookup value will be this one. Table array, you put in the name of the table, and then you press the tab. Always remember to press the tab. Column index number is just now it was at column number 8, right? So we put the same value, comma, followed by the false. Those parentheses and then enter. Right? So you saw two different ways how to insert the VLOOKUP. All right. So I feel if you put in a table, it's a lot easier. You eliminate that selecting part. Now, the next one that I wanted to show you is the freezing. Just now I told you I wanted to show you the freeze, right? Okay. Now, if you want to freeze the row, see, if you scroll down, you cannot see it. You cannot go to freeze the top row, because if you freeze the top row, you will freeze this row number 1. So when you scroll down, you still cannot see the column header. So this is wrong already. Let me go and unfreeze it. What you want to freeze is this. You want to freeze row number 2. So if you want to freeze row number 2, what you should do is always select the row below that. So if you want to freeze row number 3, you select row number 4. In this case, we want to freeze row number 2. So I have to select row number 3, just the row below. Okay, just remember that. So once I select the row below, then you go to freeze panes and freeze panes, this one. Like that. So when you scroll down, you will notice that the row have been frozen. Okay. Okay. Color formatting. Now for color formatting, it's also useful to identify certain things. This is also like a quick analysis. For example, let's say those members who paid a total of less than 810, it shows that they are still in debt. That means they're still owing the clerk some money. So how to show it in terms of color? Right? So that's very interesting, right? So what you do is you select the affected column first. So I'm going to select this part. I'm going to select this part like this. And then you go to your Home tab and go under Conditional Formatting. Okay, so select first, go to the Conditional Formatting, and choose the first option that says Highlight Cells Rules. So it depends on what you want to do. Like in this example, you want to go with values that are less than something. So I'm going to go to less than. Okay, less than. Less than what? Following this example, less than 810. Now, if the values are less than 810, what you want to do? So that is where you fill up with certain color. They have predefined colors that you can choose, but you can also customize it. For example, if you want to fill it with light red, you can go ahead. If you want to fill it with purple, then you must go with custom format. Okay, I'll show you that in a while for the second example. So let's say I want to go with light red fill. So I choose that and then click OK. So what it will do is it will tell you those light fill red cells are all owing the clerk money. Okay, so we can see mostly everybody's in debt now, like that. Okay, that's called conditional formatting. Now, the second example we have is, let's say you want to identify the newcomers with the color green. So member ID that are greater than 1600 are considered new members or newcomers. So if it is concerning member ID, then you select just that. So I'm going to select this. I'll go to conditional formatting again. Okay. To the same place, highlight cells rules. and choose, it's not what greater than, right? Okay, so choose greater than. So the value was greater than 1600. These are considered new members. So what you want to do, definitely you want to fill it with color. So let's say you want to fill it with green, and green is not listed here, for example. So you go to custom format. When you go to custom format, it depends whether you want to change the font color, or if you want to go with the fill color, then you click on fill. So this one will fill the entire cell with a color, and then you click OK. All right, then OK. So conditional formatting, it makes it easier for us to identify something out of large amount of data. Okay, that's called conditional formatting. Now it's already fine. Ayo, okay. Wait. I'll give you a suggestion. Now, actually, for part 3, there's a lot more advanced things that I want to talk about, because I want to show you about sum if, count if. I want to show you about if statement. I want to show you about extraction. I want to show you about concatenate. There's actually a lot of things that I want to show you, but it's already 5. Okay. If you are okay with it, what we will do is we will end the session now. But what I can promise you is I will create a recorded video for part 3, and then I will share it with maybe Raja Faiz, and Raja Faiz can maybe share with all of you. I do not know if this is possible and feasible.
I think it's better if we like make another session, another Excel workshop, specifically for that part.
Just for that part?
Yeah.
For this? Okay.
I think that would be better.
Okay, you prefer that? Because for this, then I'll probably need maybe an hour. Just 1 hour, I think is fine. Is it okay?
I think we can do that.
Sayang lah, because I already prepared it. Fine with recording. So you let me know whether you prefer live session like this or you prefer recording. I'm okay with both actually, because I can't go on for another 1 hour. I think it's quite long. So let me know. Raja Faiz say we want to schedule another session. How many of this? 30, 40 of this, 38. Okay. Both work for me. Okay. So far 2 have said recording, 1 said anything is okay. So Raja Faiz, I think you make the call. If you want it live, also no problem. Then maybe for those of the students who prefer recorded version, then we can actually send it to them. Possible or not?
Yeah, both is possible. I think we continue the discussion after this. I think it's better.
Okay, okay. So for now we have completed part 1 and part 2. I will still owe you part 3. Okay, so I will discuss with Raja Faiz what will be the best step moving on. Okay. So for all of you, thank you very much for your participation. I hope you have learned a thing or two about a little bit about Excel, and I hope that you'll be able to at least apply certain skills as and when necessary. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Most welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss Lilian. You've been very helpful, and your what you have taught us today have been like very insightful. I'm very grateful that you accepted my invitation. Like I think it's 1 month ago. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, about 1 or 2 months ago. Yes, most welcome, everyone.
For those of you that haven't filled in the form yet, please do so, and we will update when we have uploaded this recorded session on FOM YouTube. Thank you everyone for coming today.
Okay, bye. See you for the next section. Yeah, thanks, Raja. Okay.